So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Above Suspicion 1943. It was all right. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. It's about what you'd expect from a spy thriller from this time period. I still like the Batman serial better than this. I'm not a big fan of Joan Crawford. Fred MacMurray was good in Double Indemnity, but his other stuff, The Flubber, I'm not too crazy about. The reason to watch this is, of course, Basil Rathbone plays the bad guy. We like Basil Rathbone on this channel. Above Suspicion is a 1943 U.S. spy film directed by Richard Thorpe and starring Joan Crawford and Fred MacMurray. The screenplay was adopted from the 1941 novel Above Suspicion by Scots American writer Helen McInnes, which is loosely based on the experiences of McInnes and her husband, Gilbert Hyatt. The plot follows two newlyweds who spy on the Nazis for the British Secret Service during their honeymoon in Europe. In the spring of 1939 in England, Oxford University professor Richard Miles and his new bride, Frances, spend their honeymoon in continental Europe. They are commissioned by the British Secret Service to find a scientist who has developed a countermeasure against a new Nazi secret weapon, a magnetic sea mine. Without knowing his name, what he looks like, or where to find the scientist, the couple look upon the search as an adventure and cross Europe seeking clues from clandestine contacts. In Paris, Frances is given a hat decorated with a rose as a signal for their first contact, who silently instructs them to go to the cafe in Montmartre. An unseen contact plants a tourist guidebook to southern Germany and Richard's coat. The couple notice a series of ink dots on a map in the book, which linked together form a musical staff with the opening notes to the song My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. They deduce that this is their password. 3 pin pricks in the same map direct them to the book's seller, A. Werner in Salzburg. Werner instructs them to go to a certain museum where a man named Count Hassert Seidel, calling himself a guide, suggests that they check into a guest house run by Frau Kleist. She provides them with a book on Franz Liszt with annotations that reveal that their next stop should be at a village in Portisau, Tyrol, where they should inquire about a doctor who collects chess pieces. Some days later, Richard and Frances attend a performance of Liszt's music. This is where the film starts to pick up. I really like the last half of the film, and I hated the first half. That's why I'm giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not a big fan of spy thrillers, by the way. This is an MGM movie, 1943, 90 minutes. All right. During a passage that Thornley had been practicing earlier, a Nazi commandment is shot and killed. Officials insist on questioning each member of the audience. Richard and Frances are rescued by Gestapo chief Count Sieg von Aschenhausen, a former Oxford schoolmate of Richard's. Thornley killed the Nazi colonel as revenge for the torture and murder of his Austrian fiancée. Wasn't Austria being controlled by Nazis also? Well, Francis and Richard visit the home of chess collector Dr. Mespelbraun, and von Aschenhausen is there. They notice sheet music for My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose on the piano, but when von Aschenhausen fails to respond to a code signal that Richard gives him, the couple becomes suspicious. Yeah, it has something to do with a cigarette lighter. They hear thumping noises upstairs and discover that von Aschenhausen is holding Mespelbraun prisoner. Mespelbraun tells them to run and that they're being hunted by the Gestapo. So his mouth is taped up. He's tied to a chair and he just knocks over the chair. And somehow he manages to get the tape off his mouth. And then he talks through the duct to Mr. Flubber. Francis and Richard leave the house just in time, and Count Seidel arrives to help them free Mespelbraun. He is revealed as the missing scientist, Dr. Smith. All four head for Innsbruck, and Mespelbraun gives Richard the plans for the countermeasure. The couple obtain counterfeit passports from the Schultzes, an elderly couple. They are planning to catch the train to Milan at separate stations. But when the Schultzes are arrested by the Gestapo, the police are on the lookout for the U.S. people, Joan Crawford and Fred MacMurray. Francis is detained and questioned by the Gestapo, but Thornley in Innsbruck, to catch the same train, finds Richard. Richard, Thornley, and Seidel gain entry to where Francis is being held, and they kill her captors, including von Aschenhausen, but Thornley is also killed. That was a cool fight scene. Pretty decent. And I like the one Fred MacMurray's one-liner at the end. The film marked the end of Crawford's 18-year career with MGM before she signed with Warner Brothers. It was Veidt's last role, as he died from a heart attack several weeks after shooting had ended. Variety wrote both MacMurray and Miss Crawford completely handled the roles despite drawbacks of script material. I don't agree with that. And T.S. in the New York Times commented, Joan Crawford is a very convincing heroine. I hate to say it, but I love the Mommy Dearest movie, which kind of trashed Joan Crawford reputation as a mother, or lack thereof. Critic Howard Barnes wrote in the New York Herald Tribune, there are so many floral, musical, and cryptographical passwords in the film's plot that the whole show becomes a sort of super treasure hunt. Unfortunately, neither Joan Crawford nor Fred MacMurray looks quite bright enough to unravel the tangled skeins of the screen melodrama. Now, that's a better review from New York Herald Tribune. New York Herald Tribune. The film was released on Region 1 DVD on April 6, 2010, as part of the Warner Brothers Archive Collection. Why is it Warner Brothers if it was produced by MGM? I don't know. Anyways, so I told you in my last video that YouTube took down one of my Canon flick reviews. So I had to redo it from scratch based on what limited information I have on my head. Karate Man will be the first one to tell you that I tend to forget things. He's asking me my thoughts on Thomas Ian Griffith, and I just go back, watch my 2 reviews of his film, and I didn't care for them too much. I don't really remember them. Anyways, so that missing film, I went back into my Psychotronic video guide and I tried to fill the gap on my list. I think it was the 3rd movie that was missing. So I just moved it up a notch. And my list looks a little different now. I'll pull it up while I'm discussing my weekend adventures. Okay. So as I mentioned in my last video, I got off early from work at 4. My boss gave me permission to leave an hour early. So I just came here, had some ice cream, crashed out, and I woke up at 1:30 in the morning. So I got through 5 episodes of Renegade. And I did my Legion of Mary stuff, which took me all day long. And then I came back home at 7. I had a little bit of dinner, and then I woke up at 1 a.m. You see a pattern here? I'm waking up earlier every night. But then I had my son all day yesterday with church stuff. And so this morning I didn't wake up until 2:30 a.m., but I did finish Renegade at about 6 a.m. I finally got through season 5. Thank God. And now I'm back in business. Feels good to be back doing these movie reviews. I guess it's too early for Karate Man. But I just reviewed Above Suspicion. I'm going to delete that one. Oh, I see where I'm missing. I see another missing spot here. All right, I got to clean up this movie list. Edit. I think I know how to clean up this list because I should have this information on my computer. So the next 3 movies are Failsafe, 1964, Accidents, 1989, and The Replacement Killers, 1998. So that's what coming down the pike. I don't know if I can get to all 3, but I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 more for a total of 3 today, and then I'll try to wake up early tomorrow morning, like around 1 to 3, and I'll try to do 1 more review for 4 review. I did 5 review. My goal is to do 5 reviews on Memorial Day weekend. So thanks for stopping by during the Memorial Day edition of my channel. I'm going to keep trying to pump out these reviews, make up for the last 9 months or so, whatever it was when I did my last movie review video. And we'll get this channel back up. Hopefully we'll get some more of the old time fanatics of this channel. Adrian, Professor Quiz, Jeff Jaffe, NASA Genre Colt, those kind of people. What about British Crumpet Man? Whatever happened to British Crumpet Man? Laters.